Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. So, it is beginning to get warm, and my brother has given me some lettuce plants to grow that could be hydroponic. Now, I've seen the hydroponic towers that are all over the place, and I've seen a couple of videos on people doing some things. I'm going to try and do some hydroponic growing because when I grew in the garden last year, my potatoes did fantastic, okay? And the gophers left those alone. They didn't mess with those. But anything that was leafy and growing up, my beans, so I planted lima beans, I planted lettuce, they destroyed all that. So I'm thinking of doing a hydroponic growing system on my railings around my deck. So it'll be up high enough that hopefully they can't get to it. And with the white PVC, that'll blend into the white railings, that PVC railings that are there, and will enable us to be able to grow vegetables that will, hopefully give us some great food, as well as to give us a nice background. And another good thing about doing the hydroponic is basically it'll be self-watering. So if I'm not here, it will continue to be watered for us on a regular basis. So looking at all of these things here, these are the benefits of doing this per se, reasons why I think it'll work good. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do my first one. I've never done anything hydroponic. In fact, I'm new at gardening in general, so I am learning on the fly. I know nothing about doing hydroponics, but I do know a bit about plumbing since I build and do construction work, and I have tons of extra fittings left over in my storage garage over here. So I'm going to grab some pieces. Now, my first thought is, and I've seen some people that have taken basically a 5-gallon bucket and they've got 2-inch PVC that's going up with a couple of Y connectors. Now, I'm going to go to the plumbing supply house because I'm going to see if they have any of the 4-way ones that are Ys, not the sanitary ones, because the sanitary ones are flat and then they go down. I don't think the baskets will fit in. But if I can find a 4-way that is a true Y, 2-inch will be good. But I worry about stability as it gets taller. So my thinking is I'm going to get a 5-gallon bucket, okay, nice white 5-gallon bucket, and I'm going to take 3-inch PVC and I will put on the bottom of it a toilet base, okay, you know what I mean, the toilet flange. So we put the toilet flange down there, we put the 3-inch pipe down on there, we can put a couple of bricks onto that because that'll make it more stable. Once it comes out of the bucket, we'll go ahead and not glue it on. We won't glue on that fitting, but we'll be able to put that 3-inch on with a reducer. This is going to create more stability because if I put a couple of bricks in, my thinking is it will help hold it so it's not going to tip over. The weight of the water is going to keep the bucket itself well grounded as well. And then I can go up with multiple T's, and depending on how well it works, if it works out really well, what you could do is you could get a 4-way 3-inch where it's wide off of it, have 2 Ys, and then reduce it. So that way you could technically go up and grow 3 of those off of those T's and have it stable. That's the thought and the idea. The other thing I would do is I'd put a 3-inch inlet screw on top. That way, that's how you can go ahead and put more water back into it. The reason why I was thinking about the 3 inches, I was seeing a guy who was doing his first one. The thing is the pipe just seemed like it just kept moving. Putting that base in there is going to make it better because it's a larger pipe on there, stable-wise. I thought about possibly screwing that base on and adhering it to the bottom of it. So that way it's really going to be snug. But lining up the top of the bucket and things like that, we'll see. So this is the plan, and we're going to see how well this goes because I need to get the lettuce plants in there because they're growing pretty good. And making this 5-gallon bucket unit would be small enough that I could put it inside the house for the winter, or I can move it back outside. So this would be all year round. You could grow plants. Okay, so this is what's going to come out of the bucket first, and you'll see those will go in there. I'll put a reducer on this, and look at this, bam. So this way I'm going to get the most out of this stack here. And so in between, I'll put one so it goes this way, and then alternate it, so that way there'll be plenty of room for the stuff to grow, but you'll be able to get more plants in here. Now this will be more expensive. I hate to see how much this piece is. This is probably going to be a $20 piece. 21. And how much are the 4-ways? 21. It's still going to be a lot cheaper than if I bought this from one being made.
You got 3 of those?
Yeah. I'll spend probably with the pump about $100, maybe a little more. All right, so I have actually gone from the plumbing supply house to Lowe's to Home Depot to get everything that I've needed for this. And I have a tendency that when I do things that I overbuild and maybe overthink it, over-engineer it, because I want it to last. So follow with me, if you will. I got a box full of plumbing parts here. I had some parts and stuff left over from when I did the house here and some other projects. But here's my thought. So first thing, I've got myself a nice white bucket. We'll put that stuff to the wall, and the top that is made to stick onto it. So here's the 2 things I'm going to do with this bucket. I'm going to drill a 3-inch hole into it and be able to basically put this right here. This is a screw-in top, so that way this is where I can unscrew the top. I've got I'll glue another piece on the bottom of this, or I'll put the screw-on piece on there. This way we can add our water and stuff in here. We'll seal that up. We will drill another hole in here, in which case our 3-inch pipe will go down in here, and we will use our toilet flange on the bottom of this. This will help to keep it from being able to move. I could put a couple of bricks down in here on the bottom of it if I want to, and it'll keep this from being able to move and make it sturdy. Once we fill it up with the water that's in here, of course, with the fertilizer and stuff that it needs, the weight of that will help to keep it also snug, but it doesn't do anything to this. But having that flange on the bottom will help. So I've been cutting pieces of PVC. So this is, again, I couldn't find white PVC in the thinner walls ones. It would cost me a lot less to do it that way, but this is going to last for a long time. But because we're going to end up putting that foot on here, we're going to need to drill some holes in the bottom here, so when the water comes through, it drains back into the bucket. No biggie. But having this come out from there, this has got a little bit of weight to it, and it's sturdier. Okay, so that's the first thing. This is where I'm trying to maximize what we do here. Now, this piece right here did cost me like $18, but, oh, wait. Hold on for a second. Let me get one of the pieces. All right, so this is one of our cups that the plants will grow in. Notice when we put these in here, they're just the right size so they don't fall through, but you can also see it right there. So when the water comes down the walls, it'll get the plants. Okay, so again, you know I'm engineering this thing. What we're gonna do then is we're gonna end up gluing just the bottom pieces in here, because we want to be able to take this apart. So we're going to take this, we'll glue the top side here to our reducer. Okay, so I got my reducer here. Now, I'm not going to glue this piece in here, because what I could do later, if I decide that this works out really good, is put an extension here and use a 45 degree and make a whole nother channel, and just have to take the pipes and stuff and go the other way. So this could be a much bigger expanded tree. In fact, we could take another Y and put on here and have another one in here. So you could literally have 4 branches off of this. Okay, so let's take a look at basically what we're looking at doing. So we have the plants that can grow here and get nice and big. Then we'll take and we can glue up one like this this way, and then we can glue up one like this. So now you see where I've got 2, 1, 2, 1, and just keep building it up that way. So now we're getting more plantings. Now you could just go just like this on these and have just the singles, but now we've got the doubles. So now we're going to be able to maximize the amount of plants that are in here. Now, the pump that I've got, this is the most expensive piece of it. This is a 300 gallons per hour pump, and ideal pump range is 3 to 5 foot. So we got to keep in mind that we don't want this to be higher than 5 foot to maximize the amount of flow. The nice thing is this uses 1/2 inch hosing. Okay, so 1/2 inch hosing. What I'm going to do is, we got the cap, and again, we want to be able to take this off. We're going to drill a hole through this, and we're going to end up using and putting that in here. Now, because we got water that's got to go on these two on this side here, I'm going to be a little crazy, and I have a twist nozzle that's going to go onto this in that cap, so that way it'll spray it onto the sidewalls. That way when it runs down, it'll run down the sides, and hopefully it'll end up getting all the water all the way through on it. Might be kind of crazy, but that's what we're going to try and do. And hopefully this ends up being a really nice planting tree. It's going to look kind of crazy, I can tell you that much. Definitely going to look kind of crazy. Alrighty, so we're only going to glue this side. That way we can always take it apart if we need to. I guess we got to go ahead and put it together now. All right, so we've drilled some holes in the bottom of the pipe here, so that way the water will be able to drain out of it. We've drilled our first hole here, so that way this will be able to come out. We'll need to drill another hole here for our flow, our refill, so that way we'll be able to refill with water in there. And what we will do, let's see, where did it go? Where did it go? Okay. Then that one will go on there just like that. And then we will just start working our way on up for our planter. I think that's going to work out pretty good. I may shorten these up just a little bit, but I want to keep enough in here that way I can always reuse these if I need to. But just like that. And so right now we're at about 3 feet. So you figure we can actually get quite a few of these. So we'll get 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, about 9 planters in here. So I think that's going to work out pretty good. Now we'll see if the wife likes it. The good thing is that I think will actually be, with the water in the bottom of here and a couple of bricks, I think that will be stable enough that we won't have to worry about it coming apart. Now I will need to put in a hole back here for the wire, for the plug to go in for the outlet, and also one for the tubing to come up to feed the top of it. Now I did have a bit of a problem when I tried drilling the top of that, is it broke. But I think I have a solution, and I think I'm going to use one of the rubber fittings to go on there. That way it'll be easy to put it on there, just be able to pull it right off and go from there. So we're going to keep on working on this thing. And what did I do with it? I'm always losing shit. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to be very, very neat with the PVC cement, and I'm only gluing the top side here. We're going to go ahead and this is basically going to be like a compression fitting, so we'll be able to take it apart from this joint if we decide we want to change it somehow or another. But you can see how we're building up the tree, but we're only going to be able to go up so high for the pump. But this will be a good grower for us to have for like the winter time. We can bring this inside and put a grow light with it and be able to use it all year round. And so far, seems like it's pretty sturdy right there. So let's see. It's about 4 foot. So we'll go one more higher, and then we'll put our cap on it, and we'll call it a day. Now, the nice thing is, if I decide I want to do more, what I could do is I could extend these out wider. Now, I will probably need to do something to balance it out and make it stronger, because the higher you get, the more top heavy it'll get. And when you're putting these out here, it could end up making it so it's a little top heavy. But we could basically make a bracket that would attach to the wall, and just to make sure it doesn't flip over. But this is going to give us a good bit of planting right here. I like it. Okay, so this is my nozzle, and I'll be able to adjust this. I don't know how much pressure I have, but ideally what I want this to do is to be able to spray on the sidewalls to go down, as opposed to just going down the middle. So when the plants are young and before those roots really get there, it does saturate it. And using the rubber cap, it'll be able to go on here just like that, and we're good to go. So that's what we'll do as far as getting our nozzle in here to get our water and stuff going. Okay, so here's the other part that's been going. Ooh, wind's kind of howling right now, blowing that over the top at me. So what we've done, this is good because when we pull the cap off, that stays right there, and this is our fill point. We'll be able to unscrew that, add more water, check the level and stuff on there without having to take the whole thing off. And we've drilled a hole so that way hopefully our extension cord will go through here, and the hose will also go to the top. This is actually a pretty simple design. It is a little bit, I have spent a good chunk of change on doing this, but I think it's going to work out pretty good. And for this to be an indoor-outdoor, good Lord, the cord in this thing is long as can be. This being an indoor-outdoor piece, to be able to take this from inside to outside, I think will be great. So we got more than enough here hose to do a couple of these, and it'll be simple to hook it up. Just need to get a pair of scissors or a utility knife so I can cut it, and then we're going to check this out. I actually want to see how much flow comes from this pump. Hopefully I've got one that's strong enough for it. Okay, let's see, that'll go in there just like that. We'll clean out the bucket because we got a lot of scrap stuff in there, but just like that, that'll be able to go on it, and hopefully it'll go on there. We put a piece of PEX on there if we need to. All right, this is about the simplest one of these I've ever seen. Actually, the first one I've ever made. So, yeah, the first one I've ever made. So, there we go. All right, let's get some water and check this thing out. All right, we're gonna put it together. I got about a half a bucket of water in here right now. We got our base here. That'll go in there. We have our pump. It's going to go in the bottom there. We do have a control for it, so we can control the flow. And then that will just go just like that. we have our hydroponic tree that'll sit up there. Now, this is a little bit loose, and I may go ahead and put an elbow up in here, so that way, in fact, I think I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go ahead and use some PEX. I'm going to go ahead and use some PEX and put this on with a clamp, so that way it'll be able to keep from being looped, but it'll be a 90-degree turn. But at least for now, let's go ahead and run the test. So I'm using a PEX connector here, and that's a little bit looser than what PEX would be. But I'm going to go ahead and clamp it right on there, and I can cut the pipe later to add an elbow. But this will be good enough to check and see if this is going to work or not. So let's put on the pump and let's see how much flow we've got. Okay, see some water. Okay. I need to put that on a little tighter. Not enough pressure to really shoot it on the sides. So let me see if I can adjust the bottom of that a little bit more. But I can feel water. I can feel water going through here. See that? Okay. And I see it's okay. I think this is going to work. So you can see this kind of, that's what it is. This kind of crimped. So I'll get an elbow and actually make this a 90-degree. So that way it'll flow a little bit better. Yeah, that helps right there. Flows a little bit better. All right, so we're going to modify that. I'll be back. I think I've got it. So I just learned something here. So the jets on this weren't, or the pump wasn't enough to really aerate this to shoot it on the sides like I wanted. So I unscrewed this off of here, and check this out. This actually works out even better because it's got a hole on each side of it, so it's actually going through, and you can see it, how it is really getting the water all the way through this. This is going to actually work out, I think, pretty good. Again, I think I spent probably a little bit more money on this than what people probably would have, or there are probably ways you could have done this cheaper, but I think this is going to be nice and sturdy. I'll be able to get into this, check and make sure I've got plenty of water in it. You know, look, so I can take the cap off like that. I've got the bucket, so I can take this inside, I can take it outside, really easy between, you know, the weather being good or the weather being bad. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 planting pieces on here, and there's plenty of space for each of those to be able to branch out. I'm rather proud of this. So we're going to start planting and seeing how this actually does with some plants. Now my brother does have some lettuce plants for us that he's already started, and it's going to be a matter of transplanting those and getting these in here. I want this thing working today. Peace. Okay, so I've got my Wonder Wick pieces in here. That's a media. I've just kind of sliced that, and I've got the roots coming through here. And we just, these are great because these just basically slip right in there. And what happens is the roots, well, the roots are now just being hit by the water as the water goes down. And so my wife was saying, so do we have to change the water? I was like, no, with it being a pump in here, it's recirculating it so it won't go stagnant, and it will keep on growing. So all we need now is some light, and we got to figure out where we're going to put this. And I have, these are some lettuce plants my brother started. And so I was telling my wife she can get some of her clippings of our plants and stuff that she wants to grow, and they can go in this as well. So I think it actually came out pretty good. And this is it. We'll take I'll go ahead and I've got 6 of these planters right now with the lettuce in here. I'll go ahead and put those in here, and we'll start the process of that. I think from now, the moment, I'm going to probably put this upstairs where it'll get plenty of light. The thing I actually like about this is it sounds like a waterfall. So there you have it. Something new from Joe Boo. I really like this.